All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 5 of my evolutionary woman quest. Turn this off really quick because it's kind of loud. Today was a doozy. I wasn't expecting it to be quite what it turned out to be. Today was about obstacles that we encounter in our lives as we start to, I guess, attain our spiritual maturity, I guess, so to speak. We all go through this sort of quest in our lives to find our purpose, right? So this is what we've been discussing this whole time, was about our life purpose and how we follow our inner happiness to figure out what that is and how we are best built in order to project that out into the world to help the maximum number of people, but with the minimum amount of effort, right? Because none of us are really doing this for success. We're doing this for personal empowerment. And in a way, it sort of just becomes our testimonial. 5 years ago, I never would have thought I would be sitting where I am right now, talking to you guys about what I am right now, living the life that I am right now. Nothing's the same. 5 years ago, I was 283 pounds, trying to pretend I didn't hate my life, and I didn't need to make some humongous choices in it. And I made those choices. It was a year later, and it was probably one of the most difficult decisions of my life. But there is a light after the dark. I grew up in a family that wasn't stable in any way. And I always told myself growing up that I would only get married once, and it didn't matter what was going on, I would never get divorced because my children were the most important thing to me. Right? We say silly things when we don't realize how life really is sometimes. Come to find out, my marriage didn't work out, and it was for a lot of reasons. It's always for a lot of reasons, both ways. I learned a lot from it, though, and I hope you did too. We have a pretty decent co-parenting relationship now that, should sustain in the future for the sake of our child. So and my divorce was a nightmare. I wasn't sure I was going to come out the other side of that in 2 pieces, let alone 10. And yet here I am, by making that first choice to better my life by changing my belief, I'm still here today. Because if I wouldn't have changed that belief, I would not be sitting here with us having this conversation right now. And saying that's hard, but it's true. I was on a very self-destructive path, and I was taking everybody with me too. And I think we all kind of do that. It's kind of our dark night of the soul, getting in touch with our shadow and really realizing the depths that we can get to. And it's kind of scary to face that in yourself. But if we don't face that in ourselves, we cannot then burn away the garbage and rise again from our own ashes as the phoenix. You know, that's kind of what life is about. Death and rebirth. It's a process. So, you know, those are all obstacles. And if I wouldn't have been able to make better choices, then my life would have continued to be shit. Because I've made better choices, my life is freaking amazing. No, not everybody understands it, but I really don't care. And that's kind of how you should feel about it too. The problem is if we keep getting stuck in how everybody else sees us, and it really doesn't fucking matter. Because all that really matters is how you see you. And if you see you how other people see you, then boy, are you seeing a clouded picture sometimes. Because not everybody's going to have your best interests at heart. That was also a hard lesson for me to learn. I think that everybody who, you know, is nice to me has my best interests. But it's extremely naive. And it's burned me on way more occasions than I would like to admit, honestly, because I'm a nice person. And I would never consider doing some of those things to people. But that's kind of partially been my learning process, too, is learning to trust myself when I am kind of backing off, going, hey, you probably shouldn't continue this because that person's a little shady. And regardless of the fact that I see all of their shiny lighted goodness and want to think that they're going to always make the best choices, that is not the case. So back to the really real world. Part of the evolutionary woman process has also been realizing that you can rise above all that you've been told and follow the things that make you happy, and the world isn't going to fall apart just because you disappointed a few people. Battling my feeling of disappointing people has been my biggest hindrance, I think, in following my path. And part of today's exercise was about telling our significant others about how we plan on spreading the word on that path that we've chosen. I am lucky enough to have a husband who is behind me a gajillion% all the time. So he's already aware of this and is probably watching this video right now. But if you are, hi babe, I love you. But he's also on his own path right now too, and what a lot of us aren't realizing is we as women are not the only ones rising up to try and co-create this harmonious whole of a new world. There's also evolutionary men stepping up behind us too, going, hey, I got your back. Lead on, shining light. You can do it. And that's nice to know that that's starting to happen too. So part of this process is losing a lot of things that we didn't think we were going to lose. I didn't think I would be divorced and then remarry the love of my life from high school. Miracles happen every day, guys. I'm sure my parents didn't think I would survive birth, being born 3 months early. But here I am, killing it. Started out 1 pound, 6 ounces, and well, I'm still not a whole lot bigger than that. But, you know, in theory, in soul theory, you know, the light's huge. I have a baby cousin right now who is following the same heart stubbornness. And she's now almost 3 pounds. And she was born a little bit earlier than I was even. And she's a fighter too. So go Lillian. Another up and coming evolutionary woman. We don't realize how much our example alone is what drives us to be better people. And the people we surround ourselves with are our example. So a lot of people are finding right now that the negative examples in their life are falling away in an almost effortless manner. It's like a hot knife cutting through butter in some situations. They just float away. It's because you're vibrating at a level now that they can't reach. So high five yourself, guys, if this is happening. Don't cry about it. Just let them go. Because somebody better is going to come along to take their place. Somebody who's more vibrationally compatible. And this happens with every breakup. Whether it's family situations, romantic relationships, or otherwise. Even work situations, this is also happening right now too. So if you feel like everything is crumbling and falling in pieces and you don't know which way to turn, just take a deep breath. Everything's going to be fine. It may take a little bit, but I promise you, things will get better. They always do. So, what we really need to be doing as an evolutionary woman is also helping to connect with those evolutionary men that are in our lives too, that are also trying to spread their own light. Because our purpose is to co-create a new path that helps further the evolution of humanity as a whole, to evolve into a system that embodies more love and less hate. Now, I know it seems far-fetched, but every random act of kindness gets us that much closer to that goal. Showing your vulnerability in any way, shape, or form to another human and having it connect in some way is creating a ripple. It's like throwing a tiny pebble into a big pond. You don't think that the little teeny tiny ripple is going to eventually reach the very, very edges of that huge pond. But it does. It may take days. But eventually, that little tiny ripple hits the shore. So think of how you can be that tiny pebble getting thrown into the lake today. How can you overcome your current obstacle, maybe in a way that you never thought of doing before, from a more creative angle? A co-creative angle, if you can manage that at this point. And how have you overcome the obstacles to getting your message out there? Or how do you think you will if that situation does come up for you? Because I have a feeling that tomorrow is going to be a little bit deeper. Also, the lesson today too was also about how it's possible for us to not only create successful financial lives, but do that while we are also creating a family. And while when it's very early in those stages, it is a little bit more difficult to do, it's not impossible, unless you tell yourself it is. So don't let that be a hindrance to you in how you want to engage in this evolutionary cycle. Because it doesn't really make a difference when you're following your path, because a way will be found. And it's not usually the way that we think it's going to be. So just stay open. The only other thing for today was just about how you are stepping away from doubting your intuition and stepping more into your personal power of knowing that you can make the best decisions for yourself, regardless of your past mistakes or where you've come from in your life. Because from this very second onward, you can change your life if you make that choice. But it has to be a choice that you make every second of every day. It can't be something you half-ass, because then that's why you fail. And it just says that you either, one, didn't want it bad enough, or two, you're not ready yet. It's usually because we have some other sort of block that needs to be cleared first. So if you're hitting a lot of walls in your manifesting right now, that's probably why. Just take a step back and follow where your feelings are telling you to go. A lot of things are being triggered right now. It is full moon day. So be aware of that. And it's a full moon in Scorpio. So it may be a little bit deep emotionally for some of you. For others of us, it's just been kind of business as usual. But make sure you are stepping out of that personal shell and acknowledging to, if not your significant other, another masculine force in your life, whether it be your dad, your brother, or another family member. Because very often they can give us a perspective that we can't see through our emotionality. And while it's maddening sometimes, the simplicity of the answers that we're usually given, if you take a minute to sit on it, it's usually true. So, how are you going to follow through on that? On telling your partner or another person in your life about what it is that you are wanting to start to create. Write that in your journal. And then, what obstacles are you facing currently, or have you faced in the past in the effort to involve this particular creation in your life more, or further its evolution in your life more? And also, is there an obstacle in the future that you foresee occurring because of it? And how do you plan to overcome that? And share them below. And as always, thank you for tuning in for day 5. I'm sure today was a little bit more scattered than normal. But it's full moon, and it is a little bit scattered today. So just bear with me. I'll try to be better tomorrow. I love you guys. I really appreciate all of the feedback that you guys have been giving. And thanks for helping to keep my energy as high as possible during this time. And I think I'm going to pull one card before we go. Let's see what message Spirit has for us about the path that we're on currently. Ooh. This one keeps trying to come out. Okay, so they are still talking about power place. So we are still trying to find our root in the earth. We all have a place somewhere on this planet that we are most energetically connected to. And you'll know it's the place that feels like home. So go there sometime soon. If you can't physically go there in your brain somehow. Look at pictures, listen to sounds from that area, something. There's a message in that for you guys somewhere. So as always, thank you for joining me at Life is a Magic Mom. And I love you guys, and I hope you guys are all faring well during this time. I know it's kind of rough, but if we all stick together, I think we can make it to the other side mostly unscathed. So I hope you guys all have a great Sunday, and I'll see you later.